For their wedding anniversary, I brought my parents a luxurious Rolex watch and a gold Tiffany & Company bracelet, but they just laughed. Is this all? We expected a new house in Las Vegas, not some cheap metal. I calmly stood up and canceled their mortgage payment. A week later, 51 missed calls. So, I'm Alex, 32, a doctor. I've worked tirelessly for years to build a good life, and stupidly, I thought my parents would be proud of me for it. Turns out, they just see me as a walking ATM. For their wedding anniversary, I brought them a luxurious Rolex watch and a gold Tiffany & Company bracelet, thinking it was a nice gesture. Something meaningful. Something they'd appreciate. I should have known better. My parents have always had expensive tastes, just not at their own expense. I still remember my 16th birthday, when I spent months saving up for a designer perfume my mom had been eyeing. She unwrapped it, wrinkled her nose, and said, "That's it. No matching handbag?" When I got my first real paycheck at 25, my dad casually suggested I buy him a Rolex to celebrate. When I laughed, thinking he was joking, he just patted my back and said, "One day you'll realize how much we've done for you. Christmases? Forget it. If I didn't show up with luxury gifts, they'd remind me how my cousin Mike got his parents a fully paid cruise last year. So really, I should have seen this coming." The anniversary dinner from hell. I spent weeks picking out their gifts. A $12,000 Rolex for my dad, classic, elegant, timeless. A $5,000 gold Tiffany bracelet for my mom, something I thought she'd love. I made a reservation at the best steakhouse in town, a place with a months-long waitlist. I thought they'd be happy. The moment they unwrapped the boxes, my dad snorted, rolling the watch around in his palm like it was some cheap trinket. My mom barely glanced at the bracelet before tossing it back into the box. "Is this all?" she scoffed. I blinked. "What?" "We expected a new house in Las Vegas," my dad said, shaking his head. "Not some cheap metal." My stomach dropped. "You wanted me to buy you a house?" I asked, just to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. "Well, you make good money," my mom said, stirring her wine. "It's the least you could do." And then my dad added, "Come on, Alex, we know what your salary is. You saved money on these gifts, didn't you? You're a doctor. This is nothing for you." I stared at them. "Oh, and how do you think this looks?" My mom continued, gesturing at the bracelet. "You want me to go show the neighbors this and tell them it's from my successful son? You know what Karen's son got her? A luxury car. And I have to walk around with this?" She shook her head, disgusted. "People will laugh at me, Alex. What am I supposed to say? That my son is cheap?" I felt something inside me snap. For 3 years, I had been paying off their mortgage, covered their bills when they forgot, paid for their vacations when they needed a break. I even gave my dad money to start a business, which, of course, never actually happened. And yet, somehow, a $17,000 gift wasn't enough. I sat there, gripping my fork, staring at two people who had raised me but never respected me. I forced a smile. "You're absolutely right," I said, pulling out my phone. Their faces lit up like they had won some kind of argument. I went into my banking app, set up an automatic cancellation for their next mortgage payment, but I knew it wouldn't hit them right away. It would take a week before they realized what I had done. And I couldn't wait. 1 week later, I woke up to 51 missed calls. At first, I ignored them. Then my dad's angry voicemail came through. "Alex, are you serious? The bank just called, our mortgage payment bounced. You need to fix this. Call me back." Then my mom. "Sweetie, I don't know what's going on, but the bank says there's a problem with the house payment. I'm sure it's just a mistake. Call us." Mistake? No. For the first time in my life, I didn't fix it. For the first time, I ignored every single call. Ignoring their calls felt amazing. For the first time in my life, I wasn't scrambling to fix things. I wasn't rushing to save them from their own mess. I just let them deal with it. But, of course, my parents don't give up that easily. By the afternoon, they had switched tactics. The angry calls turned into guilt-tripping texts. "Mom, Alex, honey, I don't understand what's happening. Did you forget to send the payment? We're really worried. Please call us. Dad, you're acting like a child. This is our home we're talking about. What kind of son does this to his own parents?" And my personal favorite. "Mom, sweetie, don't you care what the neighbors will say if we lose the house? It would be so embarrassing for us, and for you. Do you really want people thinking you let your own parents end up on the street?" Right. Because public perception was clearly more important than the fact that they treated me like garbage. I let them stew for 2 full days before finally picking up. The confrontation. The second I answered, my dad's voice exploded through the phone. Dad, what is wrong with you? The bank says if we don't make the payment in the next week, they'll hit us with late fees. Do you have any idea how irresponsible you're being? I took a deep breath. Stayed calm. Me, irresponsible? That's rich coming from the guy who expects his son to fund his entire life. Dad, cut the nonsense, Alex. We raised you. We gave you everything. Me, everything? You mean a roof over my head and food to eat? That's literally the bare minimum of parenting. There was silence for a second, then my mom jumped in, her voice sickly sweet. Mom, baby, we didn't mean to upset you. We just think you're making a mistake. You know we love you, right? I could already see her, probably pacing around the living room, playing the concerned mother act. Me, love me? You laughed in my face when I gave you a Rolex. You called me cheap. You said I embarrassed you. Is that what love looks like to you? She gasped, like I had just slapped her. Mom, you're twisting things. We were just surprised. We didn't mean it like that. Dad, enough of this. Are you going to send payment or not? And that was it. No apology. No remorse. Just an expectation that I'd cave like always. Me, no. I'm done. Dad, you're serious? Me, completely. The silence stretched so long, I thought they had hung up. Then my mom's voice came back, cold and clipped. Mom, you're making a big mistake, Alex. You think you have all this power now, but one day you'll need us. And we won't be there. I almost laughed. Me, that's the funniest thing you've ever said, Mom. Because I've never needed you. You've only ever needed me. And then I hung up. The real chaos begins. I expected them to call back immediately, but they didn't. Instead, they went full nuclear. First, they called my uncle, my mom's brother, who texted me. Uncle Rob. Hey kid, your parents are freaking out. What's going on? I debated not responding, but Uncle Rob was one of the few sane people in the family. Me. They expected me to buy them a house, and when I didn't, they threw a tantrum. So I stopped paying their mortgage. Uncle Rob, wait. You were paying their mortgage? Since when? Me, for 3 years. Uncle Rob, Jesus. I thought they were handling their own finances. They told everyone they were investing in property. Sounds like they were just spending your money instead. I stared at my screen. Investing? That was news to me. Where did the money go? That night, curiosity got the best of me. I started digging through my old bank statements, looking at every payment I had made to cover their mortgage. Then I checked Zillow to see if the house value had changed. And that's when I noticed something weird. My parents had taken out a HELOC, home equity line of credit, last year. And guess what? It was for almost the exact same amount I had been paying toward the house. They had been borrowing against the house. And instead of paying it off, they were burning through the money. So I did the only logical thing. I called the bank. And that's when I got hit with the biggest bombshell yet. The HELOC wasn't just for last year. They had been doing this for over 5 years. Every time the house gained value, they borrowed more against it. They had no intention of ever paying off the mortgage. My payments weren't helping them. They were just letting them spend more. They had lied to me for years. And now, it was finally catching up to them. Next morning, the final blow. At 6 a.m., my phone buzzed. 51 more missed calls. This time, I answered. Mom, Alex, we need to talk. Me. No, you need to listen. I laid it all out. The HELOC, the lies, the fact that they had used me for years. And when I was done, I said, Me. So no, I'm not paying your mortgage. And if you keep calling me, I'll block you. Figure it out. Dad, I can't believe you're doing this. Me, bye, Dad. And I hung up. Final update. It's been 2 weeks. My parents? Radio silence. Uncle Rob told me they're desperately trying to find money, but since I was their main income source, they're struggling. Do I feel bad? No, because for the first time in my life, I'm free. And it feels amazing. After our last conversation, I thought it was over. That they had finally understood I wasn't their personal ATM anymore. I was wrong. A week went by, then another. At first, the silence was almost unsettling. I was so used to my parents constantly demanding things from me that their sudden quiet felt unnatural. But I knew better than to think they had given up. And sure enough, it wasn't long before the manipulations began. The fake medical emergency. It started with a call from Uncle Rob. Rob, Alex, what's going on? I just talked to your mom. She's in the hospital. I froze. Me, what? What happened? Rob, she said she collapsed. Stress, heart problems, she sounded really bad, man. For a second, that old, familiar guilt started creeping in. My mom was sick. Had I pushed them too far? But then something felt off. Just a week ago, She was calling me selfish for not buying her a house. She was ranting about how I had humiliated her with my cheap gifts. And now, suddenly, she was on her deathbed? Me? Which hospital? Rob. She didn't say. She just said it was serious. That was red flag number one. If my mom was actually in the hospital, she would have made sure I knew exactly where she was. She would have given me a hospital name, a room number, and a direct estimate of how much money I needed to send immediately. Instead, all I got was a vague sob story. So I did what any rational person would do. I called the nearest hospitals and asked if they had a patient under my mom's name. And guess what? She wasn't there. I checked every major hospital in the area. Nothing. My mom wasn't sick. She wasn't in the hospital. She was lying to get money out of me. The confrontation. I called her immediately. Me, hey mom. Uncle Rob just told me you're in the hospital. There was a dramatic pause. Then she let out a weak, trembling sigh. Mom. Oh, sweetie, yes. It's been so hard. The stress of everything. Of you turning your back on us. My heart just couldn't take it. She sounded like she was rehearsing for an Oscar nomination. I leaned back in my chair. Me, really? That's weird. Because I called every hospital in town, and they have no record of you. Silence. Then suddenly, she wasn't weak anymore. Mom, I can't believe you. You think I would lie about something like this? After everything we've done for you. Me. Yes, Mom. I do. More silence. Then she hung up on me. Character assassination mode activated. After that, things went nuclear. Since the fake hospital stunt didn't work, my parents switched to ruining my reputation instead. Within days, I started getting angry texts from relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. Aunt Linda. Alex, how could you do this to your own parents? They raised you. They sacrificed so much for you. Cousin Jake. Dude, are you serious? Your mom is sick, and you're just ignoring them? What kind of son does that? Some random great uncle I barely knew. Shame on you. Absolute shame. I even got a voicemail from my mom's neighbor. Hi, Alex. I don't know what's happening, but your parents are really struggling. Your mom was crying the other day, saying she doesn't know what she did to deserve this. Maybe just call her? Family is important, you know. Are you serious? They were telling everyone that I abandoned them, that I was letting them starve, that they might lose their home because their selfish doctor's son decided he was too good for them. And the best part? They were playing the perfect, innocent victims. I imagined them putting on a whole show for the neighborhood, whispering to the other retirees about how their horrible, ungrateful son left them destitute after all they had done for him. I wouldn't have been surprised if my mom faked fainting in the supermarket just to get extra sympathy points. The truth comes out. I was furious, but I didn't respond. Instead, I called Uncle Rob again. He was the only person in the family with common sense. Me. Did you hear what they're telling people? Rob. Yeah, and it's complete nonsense. I knew something was off when I talked to your mom. Me. They're acting like they have no money, but they literally spent years draining their home equity. They did this to themselves. Rob, I know. And honestly, I'm sick of their nonsense too. And that's when he told me something I didn't expect. Apparently, other people were starting to figure them out, too. Aunt Linda? Yeah, she was mad at me. Until Rob showed her my parents' financial history. Cousin Jake? He backed off after I forwarded him my mom's text about expecting a house. One by one, people started realizing the truth. And just like that, my parents' little pity party started falling apart. Final message from my mother. After a few weeks of radio silence, my mom sent me one final message. Mom, I hope you're happy. You've destroyed this family. I don't know who you are anymore. I stared at the text for a long time. Then I replied, Me, no, Mom. I finally know exactly who I am. And I'm done. Blocked her. Blocked my dad. Moved on with my life. 2 months later. It's been 2 months since I cut off my parents. 2 months of silence. No more guilt-tripping phone calls. No more sudden emergencies that just happened to require money. No more hearing my mother sigh dramatically about how a good son would do more. For the first time in my life, I felt free. But the real question was, how long would it last? Because if there was one thing I knew for sure, my parents weren't done. The apology that wasn't. I was sitting in my apartment, enjoying a peaceful Saturday morning, when my phone buzzed. Dad? Alex, can we talk? I frowned. For a second, I almost ignored it. But curiosity got the best of me. I picked up. Me. What do you want? He sighed, like he was already exhausted just from speaking to me. Dad, look, I don't want to fight anymore. Your mother and I have been talking, and we think maybe we all overreacted. Let's just put this behind us. I almost laughed. Put this behind us? They spent weeks lying, guilt-tripping, and dragging my name through the mud, and now they wanted to act like nothing happened? Me. No. I'm done. Dad. Alex, be reasonable. We're your parents. We're family. Families forgive each other. I shook my head. Me? Forgiveness? That's funny coming from you. Did you forgive me when you told the whole family I was a horrible son? When you let people think I abandoned you? When you lied about Mom being in the hospital? Silence. Then, in a much colder tone, he said, Dad, you really want to do this? You want to throw away your own parents over money? And there it was. They still didn't get it. This wasn't about money. It was about respect. Me. You threw me away first. And I hung up. The final blow. The credit fraud. 1 week later, I got a call from my bank. Bank rep. Hi, Alex. We're just calling to verify a few recent charges on your new credit card. My stomach dropped. Me. What new credit card? There was a pause. Bank rep. It was opened under your name 3 days ago. We noticed some unusual activity, high-ticket purchases, multiple locations. We wanted to confirm that it's you. I felt the blood drain from my face. They had stolen my identity. I took a shaky breath. Me. Where were the purchases made? She read off the list. High-end stores. Jewelry. A down payment on a new car. My hands clenched into fists. I already knew who was behind this, and I was done playing nice. Burning it all down. I went straight to Uncle Rob's house. He opened the door, took one look at my face, and let me in without a word. Me. They stole my identity, Rob. Open credit cards in my name. They've gone too far. He exhaled sharply. Rob, I figured something like this might happen. He disappeared into another room and came back with a thick folder. Me. What's that? Rob, proof? Bank statements, records, emails. Your parents have been in financial trouble for years, and they've been using you to stay afloat. I flipped through the pages, my anger boiling. They had never intended to pay off their debts. They were borrowing against their home, opening new lines of credit, spending money they didn't have. And when I cut them off, they got desperate. They tried to steal from me. The last conversation. I went straight to their house. I didn't knock. I just walked in. They were sitting in the living room, acting like everything was normal. Me. You opened a credit card in my name. My dad froze. My mom's face went pale. Mom. What are you talking about? I threw the bank statement onto the table. Me. You think I wouldn't find out? Silence. Then my dad scoffed. Dad, you're overreacting. We were going to pay it back. I laughed. A sharp, bitter sound. Me. Just like you paid back every other dime I gave you? Mom, we're your parents. We're entitled to some help. That did it. I took a deep breath and said the words I should have said years ago. Me. No, you're not. And you never will be again. Mom, what does that mean? Me. It means I'm pressing charges. Her mouth fell open. Dad. Alex, be reasonable. Me. Reasonable? You stole my identity. You committed fraud. I have every right to send you to prison. Panic flashed across my mom's face. Mom, you wouldn't. I looked her straight in the eyes. Me. Watch me. The aftermath. What happened next? I reported them. Filed a fraud claim. Gave the bank every piece of evidence. And since they had used my name to open the accounts, the bank pursued legal action. Within a few weeks, their credit was destroyed. They were facing lawsuits. Their house? Foreclosed. The last I heard, they had to move into a tiny rental. The luxury lifestyle they were so obsessed with? Gone. The final text. A month after everything went down, I got one last text from my mom. Mom, you've ruined our lives. I hope you're happy. I stared at it for a long time. And for the first time, I felt nothing. No guilt. No regret. No sadness. Just relief. I deleted the text. Blocked her number. And finally, I was free. Epilogue. A new beginning. It's been 6 months now. I've never felt lighter. I sleep better. My savings account is growing. I don't feel that constant pressure to be responsible for 2 grown adults who refuse to be responsible for themselves. The other day, Uncle Rob and I went out for dinner. Rob, so, do you ever think about talking to them again? I shook my head. Me. No. And for the first time, I don't feel bad about it. He raised his glass. Rob, to finally living your own life. And for the first time in years, I could say, I finally am.